most number of wins on the win total odds board, it is for the Ohio State Buckeyes. We've got 11 right there. No halves, just 11, minus 120 to the over, plus 100 to the under. We've got that massive Oregon-Ohio State game. The rest of the non-con is Tulsa and Akron. All three of those games are going to be in Columbus. The cross-division draw at Minnesota, at Nebraska, Purdue at home. Which way are we going with the Buckeyes sitting on 11?
I feel like for me, I'm in the same situation where we were at last week with Oklahoma, where my play is the over because I don't expect I'm going to do worse than a push because, like you mentioned, there are some difficult games in the schedule. Like, you start off on the road at Minnesota, which shouldn't be too difficult for Ohio State, but still, you're breaking in a new quarterback and a lot of new players, and you're starting with a road conference game. So there's more jeopardy there than probably would have been if that game's in the middle of October. But then, of course, obviously, you get Oregon in Columbus in the second week of the season. That's going to be one of your biggest tests of the year. But I think that Oregon, for as high as I am on them within the context of the Pac-12, I do think that they've got question marks of their own that they have to answer, and it's going to be even more difficult for them in the second week of the season to go on the road to beat Ohio State. So I expect the Buckeyes to win that game. And then when you get to the conference, you've got Indiana on the road. Should be a tougher game, but I still think Ohio State's well above a class above Indiana. You get Michigan on the road at the end of the season, and that's a situation where it's like, until Michigan beats Ohio State, I can't sit here and think that it's going to. They get Penn State at home. They get Michigan State at home. So I could see them losing one of those games. I do not see Ohio State losing two. So I'm going with over, and I'm probably going to push it worst.
I already bet Ohio State -9 and -9.5 against Oregon. If you guys follow my column on 24/7 Sports, you should know where I'm going with this. I don't think there's any way you can justify going under if you're willing to lay double digits in the shoe against the Ducks. I really echo Tom's points. I think CJ Stroud will be really good. I think that Travion Henderson will have an awesome year. In fact, I think they're going to be so loaded. I think Master Teague could be third string for the Buckeyes, and he's listed right now as a starter in a lot of publications. But reading bucknuts.com, like, there's a lot of young backs in that room who I think are more talented than a guy like Master Teague.
So Henderson and who?
What's his name? I did our YouTube meeting with the Ohio State guys on Friday, so I have a little insider info here. Like, they're super loaded. I totally forgot the kid's name. I'll Google it in a second. That is to say nothing of what they have at the receiver position.
Mayan Williams, Marcus Crowley.
Mayan Williams, excuse me. Crowley, by the way, really good 7-on back for Pro Impact out of Jacksonville, and can catch the ball if they need him to. They have the best receiving core in the country by a mile. I'm interested to see what this new 4-2-5 defense with the quote-unquote bullet position does. But it probably won't be worse than leaving 3 linebackers on the field, 2 of whom can't really run to cover Alabama's 3 and 4 wide sets. Just an opinion there. This is not a number that I'm really rushing to bet, to be honest. I don't see a ton of value in having to lay -120, but I really agree with Tom's analysis. Just trying to find some other things to say about it.
I mean,
Same boat.
Yeah. So I think the 4-2-5 defense would be the only spot where I wonder, like, are they going to be able to stop anybody, right? Like, if I have to nitpick, if I have to find a weakness, and then I go right back to pass the chalk, and guess what? They're going to be able to score more than everybody. No one's going to be able to stop them. So, you talk about that at Minnesota game. I mean, maybe take the over. Maybe Ohio State becomes an over team if they haven't really shored up their pass defense, and if the new 4-2-5 doesn't solve a lot of the issues and a lot of the nitpicks that we had for them. But I don't see any team on the schedule that is going to be able to score as many points as I believe Ohio State will be able to score. Push insurance. I'm going on the over too.
I think traditionally you would never see me take at a total this high to take the over with uncertainty and inexperience at quarterback. The way I look at it, like, if one of them struggles, they got a lot of options behind them. And I've told you here a few times, I swear, I think my 9-year-old daughter could come in. She could probably run this offense and put up numbers enough to beat some of these teams. I do think there's pretty good insurance that the worst case scenario is 11. like that you'll get the push. Like I'll be curious. I think we might have to have some show action on the Oregon game, depending on where that line settles. But it goes back to your point, like an uncertainty at Oregon. Like, are they going to just light up Ohio State's secondary? Not from what we've seen. You know, I don't see that happening. So I'm with you guys. I'm taking the over too, because I think it's a pretty safe bet.
Clean sweep for the Buckeyes.